The crazy shit that I get occurs when I'm walking. Well, maybe that's because when I'm walking, I put myself in crazy shit's way. Um, for example, when I was taking this walk in the rainforest in Cameroon, I was walking down a road for 4 days, and then I went down a path for another 3 days. I had all kinds of crazy shit happen. I almost married a pygmy princess. I saw some gorillas. I met a Japanese gorilla researcher. One night, I even had salamander stew, and I met an English customs agent. Let me tell you that story, because it's a funny one. Sad, but funny. And it's really kind of crazy. Well, anyway, this is day 4 of my walk through the rainforest. I came to the end of the road. The road had started, in the eastern part of the country, and it just continued westward until it just stopped. And at the end, there was a town, a small town, probably just a few hundred people lived there. Beyond the town was a little path just for walking, and that would go maybe 40, 50 miles to the ocean on the other side. Anyway, I walked to this town, and the first thing I noticed was that there was a customs office there. A customs office, customs like when you go to the airport and they check your bags to see what you have. The same thing. And I was wondering, why is there a customs office here in the middle of the rainforest? There are no roads that lead to any other country. The closest country is 20 or 30 miles to the south, and there is no road. As far as I know, there's no path. Maybe there's smugglers or something, but smugglers are not going to go to the customs office. Smugglers not going to come, hey, here's my contraband. Do you want to give me a tax on it? No, they're not going to do that. So why was there a customs office here? I soon found out. Because as I walked into this town, a man from the customs office came out to greet me. And he spoke perfect English, perfect Cameroonian English. And it ends up he was from Bamenda, which was the same town where I was living. And the man's name was Lionel. We became instant friends, actually. He was really friendly. I was a little confused about why he was so friendly at first. I soon learned. But initially we just talked about Bamenda. I knew where he lived. He knew where I lived. He knew the school where I taught. We had some things in common. It was kind of like we knew each other already. And so we got it along. We spent much of the day together. We walked around the town. We got some food. We did some things. And then eventually I asked him, why are you here? Why is there a customs office here? Then he told me his story. Apparently, he had been having an affair with the daughter of his supervisor. And the supervisor was not pleased with this. And Lionel didn't want to stop seeing this woman. And apparently the woman didn't want to stop seeing Lionel. But the supervisor didn't want either of them seeing each other. So he sent Lionel to this post in the middle of nowhere. Lionel did not speak French. This was in the French part of the country. Well, not many people even spoke French here because it was so remote. Most of the people spoke Baka. Baka was the local tribe. Some people might know of the Baka people by the other term that they're called, the Pygmy people. That's a derogatory term, but you might know that term. Anyway, so the guy was basically friendless. He didn't know anyone there. He had no one to talk to. He couldn't really communicate other than just the basic necessities of life. He never had any work to do. There was no reason for there to be a customs office there. It was purely out of spite that he was there. So he and I just bonded, or he bonded with me instantly. He finally had someone to talk to. He had been there for months with no one to talk to. Everyone basically ignored him, apparently. Well, anyway, we spent the night there. I spent the night there, and during the evening, he made me salamander stew. Well, actually, apparently, I've always thought it was salamander. Apparently, there are no salamanders in tropical Africa. He called it salamander. I've always thought it was salamander, and it was slimy like salamander. So I'm going to call it salamander. But here's a picture of what it looked like, so you can get an idea. I don't recommend eating it. It was very slimy. He put it in, into like a broth and some soup with some vegetables. He made it nice and spicy, which I like. We had some rice with it. But just remember picking it up with a spoon and seeing this like mucus coming down from it. It was just not appetizing. I put it in my mouth. I couldn't even really taste it or chew it or anything because it just kind of slid down my throat. I can remember just sliding down like ooze. It was a horrible feeling. I don't like that texture in my mouth. It was just not pleasant. So salamander stew, not on the list of things to eat. Keep that in mind. Well, anyway, I spent the night there. In the morning, we had normal breakfast, chicken and eggs, with some bread, and we chatted for a while. And then eventually, I had to get on, and he told me to stay. I said, no, I need to go on. I have to get to the ocean. I have things to do. He says, what's the hurry? Just stay for another day. I said, no, I want to go. Eventually, he agreed. Of course, he agreed. And he was sad, and I felt bad. I felt bad leaving him there. He was all alone. And I wanted to give him a gift. I didn't have a gift to give him. I gave all my gifts out already. All I could do was just say goodbye to him, wave and say good luck. And I left him and I walked into the forest. And I'll just never forget, as I walked along the path that day and into the night, I was thinking, poor Lionel, But it was a pleasure meeting him, and hopefully I made his day a little bit better. He made my day special.